I actually wrote part of this video back around when Feel Special came out, and then I kind of put it on ice, and I figured now is a good time to reopen it. This is actually a small dissertation about Twice I've wanted to do for a while now, but I keep getting requests about more and more, even though the song came out like a while ago. Frankly, there just isn't a ton for me to say, so I will include my small review at the beginning of this video, and then use that as an appetizer for the main dish, which is more about Twice's evolution over time. Splitting things up went pretty well last time, so let's break this into sections. The first part of this video is going to be some quick thoughts on the most recent comeback, and then the heart of the video will mainly be about Twice's musicality. I've kept my thoughts on More and More rather close to my chest because, frankly, I wasn't too sure what those thoughts were. I'm much more comfortable discussing a song when I can feel definitively that I like it or that I dislike it, because then I can explain why. Honestly, I felt that this song was either one layer of production too deep or one layer too shallow. The synth was not as well developed this time. There wasn't enough mixing around beneath it to distract me from where the synth fell flat. I felt there was a layer of beat missing from the chorus, there was a connector left unsounded, some sort of musical element that fell by the wayside during the export process. I can see the muscle and the veins of what could be an extremely good pop song, but the bones beneath it are translucent and harder to grasp. As a comeback, there are certainly parts that I love. If I thought that I missed the Rainforest Cafe, JYP clearly wanted to put me in my place. This is one of my favorite Twice music videos. It's a very beautifully dyed music video. Thank God they didn't light the whole thing in green. I think that the softer pale blue and pink lighting brought a lot of moonlight sunset tones to the video. They played around with the framing and the depth in this one, which gives it a very heated lagoon feeling. The music video has a really good ratio of CGI to set. There's a horse in this music video, because of course there is. Overall, I don't really listen to this song. I like it, it's not bad, I wanted to love it, and that's always a hard step to process. That's always the worst part, because I can feel where this song could have done it, where it could have really gone all the way, and it just doesn't for me. So I tend to listen to fan remixes of the song more than the actual song, but Dahyun era. Say it with me now, Dubu era. Look at my woman. I think for A-Tracks, Chaeyoung has better raps, but for me, this is my favorite of the Dahyun raps. She's got such a crisp, frosty tone, I love it, and look how gorgeous she is. The inky midnight hair, the extensions, the texturing. Dahyun and Sana, that's the whole era as far as I'm concerned. Now, this is more of a personal projection, but I really bought into the idea of Sana and Dahyun playing like a sun and moon dynamic, respectively in their styling. The hairstyles, the colors, the eye makeup, this is a divine era for hair colors. More and More is a flagship song bearing behind it an infinitely more flavored armada. Oxygen, Firework, Shadow, Make Me Go. Stepping behind the curtain of bright costumes and floor rugs, there's a sinister wine-flavored heart beating inside this album. It's pop at a precipice, and I think that's when pop tends to be its most interesting. This album definitely felt much like a trip through the whole of Twice. And that brings me to our main discussion today, transformation. From their early days to now, Twice has created one of the slowest burn discographies in K-pop. 3 full studio albums, 10 mini-albums, nearly 30 singles in 5 years, Twice has become one of the most present and expansive discographies of the third generation. There are infinitely many places we can pinpoint regarding the gradual maturation of Twice, but I'm going to focus on just 3 specific elements. Concept. The most obvious place to look is the concept and message of the group. Twice is known for cute, for color, for hand movements and winks, smiles and pink lipstick. They've been called bubblegum in varying levels of pejorative, but they've also taken the top in bright pop concepts. Their debut was a mix of cheerleaders and zombies, and their music videos are notorious for some of K-pop's best visual concepts. JYP isn't as renowned for its visuals as SM, but Twice is immediately identifiable for an incredibly strong pop concept. While you can still find people who claim Twice's fanbase is only built of lonely older men, it's very obvious that Twice are popular with young teenage girls. Everything about Twice is built to satisfy and suit a young pop-loving girl. The colors, the fashions, the members' individual appeals. And what I love about Twice is not only their dedication to delivering really solid pop songs and really delightful concepts, but the way that they've evolved that concept to be even more meaningful. From around 2016 and on, Twice has clearly understood that they have the eyes and ears of growing teenage girls, and have journeyed with them over the years to a more mature, confident, self-respecting group, with more emphasis on self-acceptance, friendship, sensuality, and vulnerability. Since Fancy, you hear people celebrating them for changing their concept. I want to talk for a moment about why I believe this isn't only inaccurate but also missing the real genius of what Twice did. I personally don't think Twice ever changed their concept or switched their concept. I think they took what they've already been working on and evolved it. Q concepts and Colourpop are often painted with a very limiting brush. They're labeled as shallow or simple, as well as tiresome and basic. The success of Twice is often labeled as a product of sheep-like little girls or gross old men, instead of a product of a very large and constant discography backed by 5 years of constant training. Even today, people act like there needs to be an excuse to justify Twice's success, other than the simple truth that the teenage girl demographic is the most important to pop culture. As K-pop has changed in the last 3 years, as well as become more internationally celebrated, there's been a very clear narrative floating around that Q concepts and Colourpop are easy and basic, and that darker, sexier concepts or edgier, hard-hitting music are gold mines of endless potential and inherently higher quality. And while I definitely think that girl crush and badass concepts do have a lot of space for nuance, so many groups have poured into those slots over the years that the space where nuance should exist was taken up by oversaturation. Twice, on the other hand, has surveyed what potential lies in cute and Colourpop and decided, no, this isn't a depleted, shallow concept with nothing left to offer. There is so much more to this sound and style, and we're going to show it to you. In the past 2 years, their concepts and albums have been an open love letter to exploring the depths of girl pop. Twice have created a space in K-pop where bubblegum isn't an insult anymore, but rather something worth celebrating because of how it makes us feel. From Yes or Yes up to More and More, Twice didn't abandon cute or Colourpop or rebrand as a new group. Rather, they took pop music by the hand and showed everyone the true variety and flavor of girl pop. You can always hear a skeleton of pure pop underneath their releases. There's a vibrance of raw girliness Twice has never backed away from. They simply found new ways to explore it, and if it wasn't there to find, they made it themselves. As an artist, Twice continued to promote the message that femininity isn't simply broadened by darker clothes and a violent pose, but also by embracing the ways that girliness can be nuanced or how Colourpop can be incredibly diverse in sound. Twice has had the ear of the pop world for a while now, and they've used it to broaden the way we see girl pop as a whole. They didn't swing full EDM or completely abandon their roots. Rather, they reminded us all that pop is a great genre for a reason, if only we take the time to listen. Another strong transformation in the group is definitely their technical skills, especially their dancing. Back in the day, Twice was constantly brought down for their dance skills and their choreography, and nowadays, when people discuss which talents the top 3 groups are known for, Twice get hailed for their formations. In this fandom, we talk a lot about potential. We say a group has a lot of potential. As far as I'm concerned, potential only really matters as much as you actually use it. Talent doesn't mean much without the hard work that goes into showing it. Over the past 5 years, Twice didn't simply stop at potential and talented, but they committed whole hog to work ethic. I've always felt that Twice's dances are completely efficient to suit their songs. TT's dance practice is the video that got me into Twice. The cuter dances have always brought out the charm in their music, and their performances were much more about audience connecting and having fun, rather than flash or stature. But it is noticeable that their dancing has improved, and their choreography has grown to suit. I don't think that's to do with simply wearing darker dresses. I think that's to do with 5 years of work in the practice room. Whenever Twice reach a new stage in their development, the singing and the dancing grows to fit, and vice versa. I've always liked Twice's voices, but I'd argue that their lower ranges are much more important these past 2 years than ever before. Where their concepts have evolved to bring meaning and self to the forefront, their performance skills have become some of their best weapons in keeping them at the top. I'm a big sucker for subtle effort. As early as Signal, Twice albums have gradually opened up to contribution from the members. Particularly in songwriting, Twice's discography has slowly become one that is cultivated by the members' own words. Jihyo, Junghyun, and Chaeyoung have long contributed lyrics and melodies to Twice's albums, but around 2019, the member contribution rather exploded, going from 1 or 2 songs per album to nearly every track on the list. Girls Like Us, Hot, Turn It Up, Get Loud, Trick It, Love Foolish, 2129. That year really defined Twice's ability to work efficiently as songwriters as well as performers. Each Twice member is a credited songwriter, and I've noticed a pattern with my favorite Twice B-sides. Once I get really hooked on a song, I take a peek at the writers, boom, there's Chaeyoung. And something I appreciate about Twice's influence on their music is the subtlety. The performances, the videos, and the concepts get put on full blast when it comes to promotions, but the members' work is often allowed to just speak for itself. And it's not because I don't want them getting credit or being appreciated, but it is true that the narrative of being quote-unquote self-produced has exploded in the last 4 years. And whether or not we like to admit it, that has always been a selling point. It's a marketing tactic as much as anything else. But it can become sort of tiresome to see how hard companies can harp on this narrative and vampirically drain the significance from it. As time goes on, I see companies who are more invested in selling a group as self-producing to add industrial appeal, and less of an artist genuinely interested in making their own way, and it's a shame because I love those groups. So it's somewhat of a pleasant surprise to see the way the members' work is honored through the fans and the artistry, rather than as a company gimmick. JYP didn't flaunt the members' writing, Twice never pushed a self-creating narrative, they simply let the songs speak for themselves. It's one of the things I also love about BTS. It makes me glad these two groups in particular have cemented their place among pop culture for the third generation. They're making it completely normal and completely humble. I've found that, personally, the more Twice engage in writing songs for their albums, the more I enjoy Twice's discography. When it comes to the members writing versus the production teams, I do think that there are places where it's obvious they haven't been doing this for 30 plus years. This isn't the one thing they devote all their time to. There are places where, yeah, it's a bit clunky or underdeveloped, lines that are just eking themselves out, lyrics that don't quite sell the metaphor. But even then, the songs written by the members carry emotional quality to them that I really enjoy. It's becoming easier as time passes to decipher which lyrics come from the production team and which lyrics come from the members describing their own experiences. Sometimes, even that clunkiness of the more fledgling songwriters can produce a flavor of real grit. It always feels a bit closer, a bit more real. Instead of a clean, beautiful handshake, it's a slightly clumsy hug, and I for one adore the way Twice reaches out to their audience. I'm a big hug person. And writing is where I think Chaeyoung especially shines. As much as non-fans have tried to doubt her importance to Twice, her genuine dedication to being a musician has provided some of my all-time favorite Twice verses. Regardless of what you think of her voice, her rap, her dance skills, her visuals, it's impossible to misplace the importance she carries in the Twice discography, and subsequently the realm of girl pop. We'll take the time in the future to talk about Chaeyoung as a vital part to the current girl group movement, but we'll save that for a rainier day. Maturity. When we talk about maturity, we tend to use that word very specifically to mean a mature concept. Whether that means sexier or dangerous or simply more black wallpaper, we tend to use that word conceptually instead of denotatively. And when I say Twice has matured over the years, I mean that in the ancient, several centuries old bottle of wine way. The music just continues to get better. It matures. The albums continue to get stronger. They grow. Twice is a group who, despite being branded as basic, has a ridiculously strong personal signature. When people appraise the value of a cute concept or a Colourpop song, Twice is a staple in success and efficiency. They touch every other group in the industry, even without meaning to. Overall, I think Twice's discography has one of my favorite developments in the third generation. Never turning their backs on what makes them the staple of girl groups in the industry, Twice continue to bring out the very best of Colourpop and dance. And if you were a teenager in 2015, Twice has literally grown up with you, and their discography is one of my favorite Bildungsromans in K-pop. I can't thank them enough for it, but I hope this video is a start. That's all from me this time, guys. Talk to you soon.